Hey guys, Federalist again. The other day in the mail, I had a lot of you guys that have seen my channel know that I've supported in Europe the Euro-sceptics, the English party UKIP, the United Kingdom Independence Party, and also a couple of people from other parties, namely Daniel Hannan from the Tories, the Conservative Party, because they're Euro-sceptic and vocally, well, he is without a doubt Euro-sceptic, and I applauded his rant against Gordon Brown. I, like so many others, have only come to know Daniel Hannan because of his Euro-skepticism and his anti-Gordon Brown rant. The other day I received I don't know if you guys can see this or not, I got this from the EU Parliament. This was so nice. He actually sent me an autographed letter, just a little, hey, kind of a thing here. This is so cool. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. This is Daniel Hannan just saying warmest regards. Very, very cool though. I've got to get his book, The Plan, now. I've got to get it through Amazon. Love the guy and what he stands for. He's so on point. It's good to see that there's a broader movement against this EU oligarchy, people far away making laws for Britain. We love England over here. You guys are, an inextricable part of our history and our heritage, and so much of who we are and who we became after the American Revolution was based on English law, was based on traditions from England as well as other parts of Europe. You guys have got to just, June the 4th is coming. It's 10 days away. I'm talking to you now from Illinois in America. There's a nationalist. We are afraid of the nationalist implications of the EU. Basically, we support everybody having free trade. Of course, that's what we're based on. We try to open up the trading markets and trade freely with our neighbors. And that's a great idea, and I think that a lot of people were bamboozled into thinking that that was the whole platform of the EU, was just this trading union. But it seems that it's grown a life of its own. It's got nationalist implications. It's the chartering of a constitution. All the fact that England, 75% of English law comes not from Westminster, but it comes from Brussels and from the EU, and that's a frightening thing. We like representative government. We say no, no taxation without representation, and it widely appears that you're being undermined from within by the Liberal Democrats, by the Labour Party, and by the Conservatives to some degree. You ought to have a say in it. Americans have fought wars and died and fought about things like this. We believe that we want direct representation by people from our peer group, from our communities, going to stand on our behalf. And you ought to have that too. You ought to covet that. You ought to treasure that. When you get it, it's something to be held on to. You can go to your neighbor who represents you, down the street. He's your representative in Congress, and you can tell him how unhappy you are with the way he voted on a matter, and you can get some redress of grievances in a more direct way, where you'd have to go from England to to Brussels and talk to people who are just like shoving you out of the way and going, you don't matter, you're from far away, you can't even control us, you're silly, go sit back down and we'll tell you what to believe in the next couple minutes here. That would not do for us. Even now, we are largely fighting back against big government, and it seems like you guys are strolling headlong right into this thing. Nigel Farage, leader of UKIP, I've watched a lot of his videos on here, and as well as other Euro-skeptics like Daniel Hannan, who have come out against this thing, and they see where this is headed. I hope that the people of England see it as well. I hope that they'll vote UKIP, which to me seems like the only genuinely Euro-sceptic political party in England at this moment in these European elections, just saying we want out and we're going to have a referendum, and if all of England comes out and says, by a majority, that no, this is not for us, we want a civil trading agreement. We want to have a good dialogue with Europe and the rest of the countries in Europe, but we're not going to be slaves to you. We're not going to sit there and go, yeah, you should make our laws. Really, the people we put in Westminster are just figureheads. It's a feel-good measure. That's not good enough. That's the road to hell. There was we're fighting similar battles here over leadership and our role. The way we do things here, getting more back to the states, more back to the people. You notice in America there's a big 28-state sovereignty movement, which is not to say secession, but it's to say sovereignty. Like, we're not going to help the federal government to impose radical laws on the states and put these unfunded mandates on the states to further burden them. We're leaving it up to the governors and the legislatures of those states to work that out, and that's the way it should be. I just see you guys heading in a negative direction if you guys go there, and here I am, just a Yank over in America, but yeah, I see UKIP as a viable alternative to that, and saying, no, let's bring it back to Westminster, and let's do things for ourselves. Let's govern ourselves. Let's figure out how to better spend $40 million dollars a day, or 40 million pounds or euros, whatever that figure is. But you could figure that out better yourselves. And I'm sure with the economic burden that the previous administrations have put on you, and Gordon Brown now has expanded that, I'm sure you could use the 40 million pounds a day. That would go better for your people. And as far as immigration, we're fighting our own immigration battle here in America. We have people from South America, there are some Canadians that come over the border, but that's always been a more free border. We have people that don't want to come here and become working aliens. They want to come here on a business deal and go back, or they'll apply for citizenship, whereas to the south of us in Mexico and the farther south areas of South America and Central America, they tend to sneak over here and try to a lot of them are hard workers, and I'm not don't even paint me into the whole racist thing. It's not that way. I've dated people from Peru. This is not how I am. Don't misunderstand me. But there's a way to get here that's proper, so that you can be documented, so you can pay into our system. If you're going to send some money back home, I guess there's not really much we can do with that. But when you have big, huge chunks of people, millions of people that are just living in the shadows and sending all the American dollars they earn here while not really paying into our system back to their previous country, that's a problem. And you seem to be fighting a similar battle with the poorer nations of Eastern Europe, having no ability to say, no, we're not going to allow any more immigration for the moment until we get a handle on who's here. Once again, I only hear Nigel Farage and his party UKIP talking about this. It's common sense, is it not? I mean, I hope that on June the 4th UKIP prevails. Then you guys have a national referendum on what you'd like to see done as far as the EU. Just as a person who's Euro-sceptic myself, and there are many of us over here, not all of them are on YouTube, and unfortunately we don't have a say in your politics. This is up to you. But as a nation, I've kind of looked at the history of our nations and how once we separated into two different entities, how we've gone. It seems to me that we're both following a different road, but you guys are several years ahead of us in the socialist way, and you see how it's working. I mean, it's not. This is not the way to go. And stepping into the EU and voting out the pound in favor of the euro and doing all these other measures would probably undermine you even worse. Nigel, good luck on June the 4th, and I hope that you guys get more than the lion's share of votes for UKIP, because I think you're the only ones talking sense here. And hey, God save England, and UKIP and Nigel Farage. And Daniel Hannan, I love you too, man. You guys have a great one on June the 4th. I hope you guys prevail. All right, amen. You guys be good.